Hello, welcome friends to Services Marketing. We are there into yet another video. The Unit 4. Today we are starting Unit 4 from Services Marketing. So in this module or the unit, basically we learn about what is the employee's role in service designing and what is the customer's role. We'll discuss both because both are the very important aspects in delivering the services to the customers. Since we know that in the services, the employees, the frontline executives are the marketers, and we have seen that in the services marketing triangle, right? How important is that? The interactive marketing that happens between customers and frontline executives, right? So in this perspective, today we'll try to understand what is the role of services designing, right? So this is the gap three, what exists because you know customer driven service designs and standards and service delivery, right? I have designed actually everything, right? So the gap one starts with understanding the customer expectations and how basically the company perceives their expectations. Second one is customer defined service standards and perception of that. The third gap is this: everything is in line now. I know what my customer expects, and I have designed the services as per that, understanding the customer expectations, and now how can I deliver? The difference in this is the gap three, and you can see that what are the main reasons for the existence of gap 3? There are four things. One is the human resource policies. Second one is supply and demand matching. Third one, customers not performing their roles, and some problem is there with the service intermediaries. Okay, so this is what we'll see in this, the gap three, right? As you know that, right, in deficiencies in the human resource policies might happen because of ineffective recruitment, right? My recruitment process is not oriented towards recruiting the right kind of the candidates for my organization. Or once we recruit, there might be a role ambiguity and the role conflict. This is very important in terms of clarity of the jobs what the employees are performing, not only in service organizations, in all the organizations. It's very much the matters. That's basically goes with how basically we have created the culture in the organization. Then we find that poor employee and the technology fit. Either my employees are not, trained, not skillful enough to handle the technology what we are having, or I'm having the technology which is really troubling the employees in delivering the service, to the customers. Then maybe again related to the human resource policies, inappropriate evaluation and the compensation system, right? Where I need to have a right kind of compensation system for the frontline executives because they are the boundary spanners. They are the link between the company and the customers. Inter kind of an intermediary, or it's the link which they establishes because the customer sees them as a company. Customer never sees company is different and the employee, the who is delivering the services is the different. No, he sees him as or her as the company itself. And lack of empowerment, perceived control, and teamwork. This is very critical, the sensitive issue, right? How much should I empower my employees, right? If it is more, the other video I think we are discussing about the empowerment and of the employees, right? So many employees might feel if there is a more control, they might feel that demotivated, and there is nothing interesting or challenging is there in the job, and we are not given any the powers to take the decisions, right? So that's where it's very tricky decisions. Or if I empower the employees more than what I needed, maybe there is a chance that misusing of the empowerment what is being the given to the employees. That's what really happens. It's a very sensitive the decision where the employer has to decide how much do I empower the each level of the employees in my organization. I think we have discussed this failure to match supply and demand in the last the unit, uh, maybe the video number 4, like that. This happens because failure to smooth the peaks and valleys of the demand and inappropriate customer mix. That means I have not targeted for the right segmented the customers, and over reliance on price to smooth the demand. I think we know that it's not only the price on which you can shift the demand from peak to low seasons, or that's what it is, but the other factors are also there. Maybe I rely overly on that, so that makes me to they fail in matching the demand with the supply. Then the next reason, I think it's very important. So for many of us feel that it's only the employees are responsible for performing their roles and giving the proper delivery of the services. But how many of us really think and know that, right? So aware that we also have maybe the equal, or even maybe the in some service delivery systems more than the employee's role. The customer's role is very important, and it's the customer. I'd say, for example, if you go to the bank to withdraw the money, and there are some processes which need to be followed, and you just make a mess of that, and entire service delivery system will be delivered sorry disturbed. And you find here, right, say for example the waiting lines, you disturb the waiting lines, right? So many things are there like this, or we need to perform some the self duties in availing the services. That's also very important one, right? So this might happen, right? So customers they are not having the knowledge of their roles and the responsibilities. Our customers will be impacting each other negatively. Here it might be coming back to the management that whether my I should ask whether my customers are aware, or have I educated them what is their roles, and whether those customers are motivated to perform their roles. Lack of knowledge might be attributed to basically how exactly I have educated my customers, so how much the customers are aware to perform their the duties and responsibilities. And second thing is that unsatisfied customers or unhappy customer will impact the company negatively. Definitely, he will be telling something negative about the service. Then obviously, it is entire service system might got affected. So hence, customer role is also as important as the employers the role here. And maybe we find it some problems with the service intermediaries in the form of channel conflicts over objectives and performance, channel conflicts over the cost and the rewards, difficulty in controlling the quality and consistency because of the intangibility of the nature of the service what we are selling. And always there's a tension between how much do I empower my intermediary in case of service delivery system, and how much control do I have on them. And just of course always you find it the intermediaries, there is a differences of objectives conflicts, because intermediary says something, company says something, and it's very important for the company to align his intermediaries objectives with the organizational objectives. And here the educating the intermediaries, convincing them, all those things are required there. We'll see that in the further the videos. Come back to this the human resource, right? So employees acts as ensuring the customer satisfaction. It is the employee who deliver the services, where specifically it's the frontline executives who deliver the services, and their role is very high in managing and in satisfying the customers. Okay. And the second point that you can see there is the environment creation, right? When the customer enters into your service system, what kind of an environment that you create is entirely depends on the executive. Say, for example, the some customer steps into your office with a bit of an anxiousness in his, the mind. He might be angry on you. Might be he might talk in a hard language, and the total environment depends on how you reply to them. How basically are you replying to the unsatisfied customer creates the environment, right? If you go on talking in the same mode or the same the tune what the customer is speaking, I think you can just imagine what kind of an environment that you will be creating in that service delivery system, right? Might be entire half day or one day might have gone, right? So it's very important that, that's why we say that the frontline executives always must be having more emotional balance, that we see that in the emotional labor, and must have a lot of tons of patience in serving the customers, because every customer expects them to be as fresh as morning 9 o'clock when they enter into the office, right? Then it's the employees who builds the relationships. This, you find it in many the service delivery systems, right? Every employee is capable of building the relationships, and you can just imagine or go by think or reflect on the services that you have availed so far. Are there any incidences that you are availing the particular the services because of the employees? Say, for example, your clinics, consultancies, hair cuttings, or beauty parlors, or might be the restaurants. And it's the employee who acts as a relationship builder among the customers. So it's very critical and important. And moreover, they are the link, or they are sitting in the boundary of the customers and the employees. Sorry, the employers. You tilt this side, you will fall into the customer. You tilt that side, you fall into your company. That's where it's a very crucial, critical, and sensitive role that the front end employees are performing in the service delivery system. Then that's what I have been, telling to you, right? So people, the customer thinks the employee who is delivering the service are the service. It's not the company, right? So if I am availing any services from an MNC, that means I don't look at the company. The person who is delivering the services is the company for me, right? That's what it says in the second point, right? So where the customers think that customers eyes, the employees are the organization, and they are the brand, and they are the marketer, right? So by this, I think we all know how important is that employees role in the service delivery systems, whatever it is, right? It is right from understanding the customer expectations to the delivering the services to the customers at the various levels. Different departments and different employees are involved in that process. That's the reason we say it's a power of one. There it says every encounter counts. It might be evening 5 o'clock, where you are about to close your office at 5:30. Some customer enters into office, right? What is that you will be speaking at the fag end of the day with the customer? That encounter also counts, right? So encounter, I think you all know that it's been discussed in the last unit. It's an interaction happens between the customer and the service provider in any form, right? It might be remote, it might be telephone, or it might be personal, or the face to face. And employees can make the difference, and employees are the service, as we have seen in the previous slide. And all the employees together really shape, right? Then we'll see what are who are these, right? Who are the service employees? What really makes them, and what is that we need to take care, right? So when we ask who are they, so I may say they are the boundary spanners. That means they are sitting in the boundary. You know, ball goes that side, it goes to company. Ball comes this side, this comes to the customers. That's why I have been telling you they are the link. They are the link between the customers and the company, right? Where the majority of the things depends on that. And what are these jobs? Even though this requires the physical and mental, something which is beyond this, labor is required from the employees in order to have a right amount of services. That's why we say about things like the empowerment and other things, where control of the employees, where we can really make the employees to have this emotional balance when they are speaking or interacting with the customers. And there might be many sources of conflict. Of course, they are the human beings, and the company is full of human beings, and the customers are also human beings. There might be the conflict which might arise between the personality, the type of the personality what we have, and the kind of the role what we are the performing in the company. And there might be a conflict between the organization and the customers. And of course, there might be the conflict between customers, among the different customers to customers, or clients to clients, right? So this is where we say that such an important role performing. Out of those questions, the first questions we ask, who are they? What's the answer? You can just go through the slide. You can just see with whom they interact. They are sitting at somewhere in the boundary and interact with the internal environment and the external environment. Internal environment might be the entire thing which exists in the company, right from marketing to finance to the customer care, to so many departments. Externals, it will be the customers with whom they are interacting, right? That's the reason we say that, frontline service employees are referred to as the boundary spanners, because they operate at the organization boundary. That's why I've been telling you, right? So if the ball goes that side, it goes to company. Balls comes this side, it goes to the internal environment, right? So it goes to either customers or before it. Both of the people will be contacting these guys only, right? Those who are sitting at the boundary are the frontline executives who deliver the services. Company talks through them. They are the face of the company through whom the company is delivering the services. And for the customers, they are the company through whom they will be availing the services. That's what you can see there, right? So these jobs are, they often high stress jobs, and these positions require extraordinary levels of emotional labor and ability to handle interpersonal and inter-organizational conflicts. That's what you can see there, right? So these boundary spanners, let us take some examples, like they may be the plumbers, maybe the waiter, maybe the home cleaner kind of a jobs, or is just take the jobs like doctors, psychologists, consultants, lawyers, right? Both are boundary spanners, right? So both, you have a lot of the stress, but maybe there is a difference in terms of the payment which is being they made. So once we planning the roles, right? So where we, I think of here the sources of the conflict, the person versus the role what he has to the perform once he joins the organizations. This might probably happen in case of the new recruits or the newly joined employees, right? So where person thinks, suppose if I'm there as a new the entrant to organizations, if I go there with the hanky panky hairstyle, might be the organization, the role what you are performing might not suit it, because the organization might say that, okay, you need to come with the requirements of the company, right? Today maybe many younger executives will face this problem, or it might be with their dressing sense might be different as a person, but as an organization it expects something. Maybe the proper amount of induction and the education is not being given to the employees when they join. I think there is some problem with the role, and that might result in the form of the conflict. This might happen, right? So that's one thing what you can note is that it goes with basically a person. It goes with a person to person, right? So what kind of the maturity level the employees are having. Then organization versus client. So here what happens, as a service provider or as a frontline executives who is delivering the services to the customers, we feel that at times, right, certain times when we are delivering the services to the customers, we feel that, right, where it's not many incidences it might happen in the service delivery system, where we feel that, yeah, it's not a mistake of the customer. Actually, there is a mistake of the company itself. Customer is the perfect, and he's all right, but something is wrong with the company policy, or something is wrong with the company, or something is wrong with the service which we have been delivered to them. So then, there might be a chance that, where the conflict arises. As a person, you may not expect, your mind, heart says that the customer is all right, company itself is wrong, but your mind says that, company is always right and the customer is wrong there, right? So then there is a chances of the conflict, or some other incidences, or sometimes you might feel there is a conflicts between client versus client. That means I might treat some customer differently than the other customers. These things you might see in the hospital cases, the beauty parlors, counselings, those kind of an industries, right? So where you find this might happen. Maybe the customer who is waiting outside might feel that, if some patient goes inside the doctor's room and sits for 1 hour, or more than 30 minutes, might be. If you go there, it's yours is over within 10 minutes. You might feel the doctor might have treated the clients differently. Then where I need to decide about the quality versus the right. So what are these the strategies? These strategies that you can see there in the slide. Right. First one says that hire the right people. So in that, where I need to compete for the best people in the for the organization, or hire for the service competencies and service inclination, not for the other things. And you be as a preferred employees from the employer's point of view. It's not that only I'll be looking for the customers, say that this is my preferred company, and the employees also has to say it's as important as the customer saying, because we have seen that how important they are, the boundary spanners, right? So be the preferred employees. And second, you can develop the people to deliver the service quality. That's inside the organizations, as we have been referring in the case of the conflicts, and how best we can create the right kind of the culture in the organization. This might help us. So where we can train employees for technical and interactive skills. That's very important. Here, one thing I'd like to tell you about the emotional labor. Right. However, that's what I've taken the example. It's at 5 o'clock, 5:30. Your office closes. Some customer enters. You need to be interacting with them as if you are there at the 9 o'clock and just open the office and he's the first customer for you. Just imagine, right? The situations are not always right. That's what we say in the service delivery systems. Backstage operations are invisible to customers, and of course, the customers won't bother about those back-end operations. I want my services to be given at my expectation levels. But maybe at times you might be having hard time with your boss, or hard time in the meeting. Then soon after completing of the meeting, or the hard time with maybe your bosses might have scolded you like anything, right? So soon after that, you have to come and sit in that seat of the boundary spanners, and the customer comes, and you just imagine yourself. Just imagine you are there very hot, and customer comes and you cannot be hot with the customer, right? So that's the reason we say about the emotional labor, right? So how are you managing your emotions? How are you managing your mental, the setups in order to handle the situations properly? That's what you find it there. There is a small joke here in this, right? I think once one person is traveling in an airline, air hostess didn't smile at him, right? So he called and told the air hostess, "Ki, you need to be smiling always." Right? She said, "Okay, I do that. Sorry, sir, I do that. Whatever you say." Then one thing, what she said was, "Okay, I'll smile all the way to, at all the customers, but you first do whatever I do, then I'll do that." Then the customer says, the traveler says, "Yes." Then he says he just showed her how to smile with the customers. Okay, he kept on, he smiled and shown. Then the air hostess replied that, "Okay, keep this smile for another 8 hours. Keep the smile for another 8 hours." Hope you have understood the toughness, The mental stability, ability, emotions, are required to keep smiling for around 8 hours. And it is just a joke, right? That's why you say we need to develop with the proper training and empowering the employees and promote the teamwork. Then it's so important, that's what we have seen, is to provide the needed support systems, right? Develop service oriented internal processes. It's about the processes and the equipments both. Provide a supportive technology and the equipment, say in the bank or in the ATMs or whatever it is. Then measure the internal service quality. Then last, once we hire, then we need to retain the best employees, right? Include the employees in the company's vision and missions. That's how we can retain the employees. Treat the employees as the customers. That's the reason we say the internal customer concept that has come, right? Genichi Taguchi has said this in one of the total quality management guru from Japan, right? He said the first time the employees are also the customers. Treat them as the customers, and they are the internal customers for the company. And measure and reward the strong service providers, right? So these strategies can be used. Four strategies can be used in closing the gap. You can see there the same thing what we discussed. And as I have been telling you about the empowerment in case of controlling the employees and empowering the employees, these are the benefits what the company can have from empowering the employees. Maybe I may get the quicker response to customer needs, and my employee will give a quicker response to dissatisfied customers during service recovery, which is very important. Employees feel better about their jobs and themselves because they have been empowered. They feel that they got some independency in making the decisions, and they might start enjoying the roles which is given to them. And employees tend to interact with the warmth and enthusiasm. And empowered employees are the great sources of ideas. I say that I started perceiving it as this is my company, this is my boss, and I might be involved more and more in the company. That makes me to give a better ideas for the companies to develop or the grow as they are interacting with the customers. They are the first hand information getters from the customers, or they are in the better position to understand the customer pulses than great word of mouth advertising from the customers. It's not that empowerment is without the drawbacks. There are drawbacks, right? So it's potentially, the greater investment in selecting, training the employees. You might get a higher labor cost, and potentially slower or inconsistent in service delivery, or they might violate the customer's perception, and that will be there, right, where I might misuse the flexibility which is being given to me, and employees may give away their the store or make the bad decisions, right? So it's left to the organization, but overall, in order to keep your employees in a better shape, empowerment is really needed uh, for the better. Okay, that's what you can see there. And say here, retain the best employees. So thank you, friends. We'll meet in the next part of this video unit 4. So where we discuss about the customer roles, and now we have realized that how important is the employee in a service delivery system, and what is the role that he'll be performing in the process. Thank you. See you again.